Well, I've tried this on all my other Captain Marvel reviews, and it still hasn't worked. Maybe this time, with the whole DCU reboot thing, maybe the powers will be transferred to me, so let's give it a try. Alright. Shazam! God, I'm still not used to that. Fuck! Shazam! Fury of the Gods released this past weekend in 2023 and is directed by David F. Sandberg, who has also directed such films like Lights Out, Annabelle Creation, and Shazam. And this film is starring Zachary Levi, Asher Angel, Jack Dylan Grazer, Rachel Zegler, Adam Brody, Ross Butler, Megan Good, Grace Caroline Curry, Lucy Liu, Jimon Hunsao, and that damn Helen Mirren. Sorry, that's Dame Helen Mirren, I always get that mixed up. In our last outing with Shazam, Billy Batson transferred his power to the rest of his adopted family, and they've been trying to put out crime in Philadelphia for the last couple of years. But you can tell the family is starting to outgrow each other, with everyone seemingly trying to go their own separate ways. And also recently, the Daughters of Atlas have broken free from captivity, and is looking to take out their vengeance on the entire human race to make it where gods reign supreme once again. Fury of the Gods? More like Fury of all the DC fanboys out there, am I right? Am I right? So I know this movie has a lot going against it. We recently just had the announcement that James Gunn and Peter Safran are taking over the DCU, like they've created an actual DC Studios, and they're rebranding everything and doing what seems to be like a soft reboot of everything. I don't know, they haven't really given us all the full details as of yet, but we don't know if it's going to be like a hard reboot and everyone's going to be recast, but they're also alluding to, well, some of the people from our previous installments could be shifting over into our brand new DCU that we're creating, but they're not giving us any definite answers, so we're sitting here left to think, well, is Zachary Levi's Shazam, is he gonna be in the DCU? Is Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman gonna be in the DCU? I mean, it's kind of spoiled now that they're running TV spots and trailers with Wonder Woman showing up in this movie. She's definitely in this, and it's freaking awesome. But we don't know if they're gonna continue on, so a lot of DC fanboys out there are just angry right now. They're angry at this movie, they're angry at the whole situation, and they're like, well, if it's not going to be a part of a universe, then why should I even go out and watch it? And my response to this is how frickin' spoiled we have become as movie connoisseurs and superhero connoisseurs, to where if it's not part of a universe, it's like, oh, well, then fuck it, I'm not going to give any of these guys my money. First off with that, I mean, if you're a fan of superheroes, I don't know how you could not watch this movie eventually, so eventually they're going to get your money somehow. And two, personally, I don't need every single one of my superhero films fitting into some grand universe and grand plan. I think movies should be contained little stories that should focus on the characters within the world. If we have little teases of something that's coming down the road, or maybe a little cameo from something else that lightly ties it into a universe, that's cool, but I don't need it. What I need is a good story, I need great characters, and I need to be entertained, and that's what I was for this film. This film is completely entertaining, and it's so enjoyable. Just like its predecessor, it has a ton of heart. It's a movie about family once again. Does it hit me in the feels like it did in the first one? Not entirely. There are a couple of moments in here that does get the waterworks going. There's a beautiful moment with Billy Batson when he's in his kid form and he has an interaction with his foster mom. It's the most heart-wrenching moment of the entire movie, and it made me happy when it happened because that's a big moment for that character. And there are other moments in here where the family seems to be separating, and then there's one big gigantic act that happens in the finale where they all come back together again. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I've watched other reviews, people have seen this movie earlier than I have, saying like, oh, some storylines got dropped and we were talking about a couple of things and then we don't get the payoff to it. And I'm like, not really. In my opinion, we did get the payoff to the overall story arc here of these characters, and that's becoming a family. They were together, they're trying to help the city of Philadelphia. They're called the Philadelphia Fiascos from the community because not everybody loves all of the chaos that seems to be following this family around. But you can definitely tell they want to go their own separate ways. Freddie Freeman is desperately trying to break out of the shadow of Shazam and trying to go in his own separate way. I think Adam Brody and Jack Dylan Grazer are fantastic. Grazer Kaiser is definitely the standout of this movie. He is so likable and he's so dialed into this character. He has wonderful moments in here where he talks about why he loves being a superhero, because he's carrying around a crutch the entire time and he doesn't want to feel like he's broken. That's why he loves being a superhero. It's not the first time in the DCU that we've heard characters not want to be broken. It's one of my favorite lines in all of the DCU, and I love that it continues here. It's perfect. And Rachel Zegler, who plays Antia, one of the daughters of Atlas, she just puts a smile on my face whenever I see her on screen. The last time I saw her, she was in the remake of West Side Story, directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's just a great rendition. I love that movie actually more than the original West Side Story, and her as Maria is glorious. She is perfect. Her singing voice is fantastic. I just wanted her to break into song for this movie. She doesn't. It's one of the disappointing things I had about this movie, but gosh, she is delightful. And Zachary Levi, I think, has a ton of charm as Shazam, and we get a lot more of Zachary Levi in here. We actually get a lot more of all of the adult version, the Shazam versions of all of these characters, which I get because we barely got them in the original. It's kind of a little surprise in the original, which is cool, so they're trying to put more in here. I still think we have the issue from the first movie where Asher Angel and Zachary Levi are playing two separate characters. They're not really coincided with how they're playing Billy Batson when he's a kid. He's pretty down to earth and he seems actually like very intelligent. When he's Zachary Levi, kind of feels like a dumbass. And it's a very tricky thing for an adult to play a kid trapped in an adult's body, where you want to play youthfulness, but sometimes that playing at youthfulness seems more like unintelligence. But I think Levi's charm allows for the forgiveness on my part, I think, with that. And we also have the Daughters of Atlas here, Helen Mirren, Rachel Zegler, like I talked about, and then Lucy Liu, and I think they're all great villains. Helen Mirren, when she's on screen, she has this gravitas about her and this presence about her to where you buy into everything. She has such clout about her as an actress altogether that if she's in a movie, you're like, okay, yeah, if you're the villain, yeah, I'm buying you as the villain. I don't know what your entire backstory is, but yeah, you're evil. And Lucy Liu is the spiciest sister of the Daughters of Atlas. She wants to take out the human race. She wants to punish them. Reasons? We don't really get them in here. It's very loose. There's a lot of talking about the history that has happened. In fact, learning the history of the Daughters of Atlas, the Shazam family find the library in the Rock of Eternity, so they're doing a whole bunch of research, which I appreciate that. When I see characters looking up and doing research and reading books on their adversary that they're trying to overcome. But in that, there's a lot of just talking about who they are and what happened and where they come from. We don't get a lot of seeing where they come from. There's a lot of talking about it, we don't see a lot of it. It's very similar to Wonder Woman from 2017 when Hippolyta was talking to Diana and telling her the story with Zeus and Ares, but we were actually seeing the interaction and a little beautiful like play on the screen of that story as they were talking about it. We didn't get that here. That's just something in films in general that I don't like. I just like seeing things. I don't like being told things. The action set pieces in here are definitely amped up from the first. The budget here is definitely bigger. We have a lot more CGI monsters, which I think were actually pretty cool. There's a wonderful moment with unicorns in here and Darla, which just, it made me crack up for like an entire minute. It was hilarious. And everything just seems bigger and grander, and I really enjoyed this. I think this is a very fitting sequel. I don't think on the emotional side this one goes past the original Shazam for me, but it's still a great time at the theater. Well, except for me, my movie-going experience with this movie was terrible because there were a couple of like young teenagers just over in the corner just laughing the entire time, and like outwardly laughing, like ha 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 ha. It was so fucking annoying. No parents around at all to tell them to shut up. All of us kept saying like, shut the fuck up. They kept getting up and in and out of their seats because they couldn't stop laughing for whatever fucking reason. When we left and we walked by where they were sitting, we just see popcorn strewn all over the frickin' place. Just terrible patrons to the theater. Why do you just drop your kids off at the theater if they're just gonna misbehave? God, I fucking hate it. If there was one great thing that the pandemic gave us, it was giving us direct to your own couch and your own living room streaming services for brand new movies. God, I didn't have to share in the freaking experience with asshole children in the theater. Little rant, I need to get that off my chest. That was one of the worst movie theater going experiences I've ever had, but you know what? It didn't deter my enjoyment of this movie. That's how good this movie is. So if you're a fan of superhero films, if you're into Marvel, if you're into DC, and you need all of your stuff to fit together, and if it doesn't fit into a universe, so there's no point in going to go see it, just wipe that out of your mind. It's bullshit, and it's such a privileged mindset to have. Could you just go and see the movie and respect the work of the artist and the director and everyone involved, because they did a great job here. I'm going to give Shazam! Fury of the Gods 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
So guys, have you seen Shazam! Fury of the Gods? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.